right, it looks like we're finally hitting that 7 p.m. SGT mark for our monthly AMA spaces for the month of August. Before we get started, I'd like to thank everyone for coming in here and joining us today. I know it's been quite a few exciting few weeks with new announcements coming out. So, bridge base, staking, RWA airdrops, and more. So, without further ado, I'd like to introduce myself. I am your host, Gene Mariama, the VP of Marketing for InvestX and IXSwap. And today, of course, are joining us our commanders, CEO and co-founder Julian Kwan, and of course, co-founder Aaron Ong. So, before we get started, maybe a few words from you, Julian.
Hey, Gene. Thanks for setting it up. Great to be here. It's been a couple of weeks since we did our last, I think, AMA. Got a good turnout. And thanks for everyone in the community who's taken time out of their days to listen up. What have we been doing? I think, as a lot of the industries, one of the characteristics of, I guess, blockchain cryptos is a huge focus on prices in the marketplace. I don't expect that to be too much different from many of the people within our kind of communities. But point is that, we've been heads down, as we always have been and always are. We've been building some great stuff. Our tech team's product and tech rollouts is, I guess, I would say accelerating in terms of our pace and quality. So we've been doing a lot of work kind of in the engine rooms related to many things I think we're going to talk about today. I think what we're seeing at the moment is obviously a multi-month, almost 6 months now, I guess, consolidation across the space. But ultimately, I think every day there's positive momentum building at a macro level around blockchain and crypto and RWA specifically in terms of its position in that crypto ecosystem. And we're seeing on-chain growth throughout a lot of the products that are in the marketplace, which is steadily growing, I would say, which I don't think you can say that about many of the other call it asset classes in crypto. So yeah, I think from a high level, things are going very well. We've got a lot of work to do. We're very bullish on the next rollouts that we're about to make. We're going to talk about that today. And yeah, we're good to be here. And I'll pass the microphone over to Aaron.
Hey guys, thanks everyone for coming today. Maybe I'll just touch a little bit on some of the updates that we've put out in the last, I guess, couple of days and weeks on the IXS platform. I guess the first thing is the bridge and the ecosystem base right now. I think a lot of people have been asking questions about it and what are the benefits, why are we moving there? I think a large reason for that is the tech. For the IXS users, I'm sure you guys would have realized a lot of downtime on the Polygon network and some issues over the last couple of years. So we've actually decided to start focusing our time on base. It's much faster speeds, less downtime, easier to deploy things. Things are a lot cheaper there. On top of that, we have the whole Coinbase ecosystem as well. And that's really one of the key focuses that we're looking at right now. The base ecosystem has been primarily focused on RWAs and meme coins. But there is a real user base on base right now, and purely because Coinbase is also pushing the angle as well. So we're quite bullish on this migration onto base as well. Jules, do you have anything to add to that as well?
Yeah, I think what's really key to our decisions that were made a long time ago to focus on base was that we've always taken a kind of a blockchain agnostic position, whereas what chains are usable from a technology perspective, from a downtime, uptime perspective, from a security perspective, from a community user base, all of those things. Base is a really interesting chain because there's the first time we've had. So you previously had software companies, even private blockchains that typically people paid for, and that was the original models before in brackets blockchain was developed. So then we had the evolution of public chains, which were all developed in a very unique manner in terms of all of them having a token launch the token, the crypto, the utility token of the blockchain was used as incentives to get people to build on the chain. So often the times people were building on blockchains because they were given, a financial grant from the treasury of the blockchain, and it might not have even made any sense. But when people are given money, they do stuff. But the other core point of that is that those public chains are paying people to use them. So private software you pay to use, and public chains you get paid to build, and that's been one of the keys to the success of the industry, that there was these incentives available to come and use their chain. And there's a huge amount of new protocols coming out. There's an unlimited. There's never a shortage of investors that want to get the seed round of a brand new layer one blockchain. And we certainly don't need more layer one blockchains, but they're coming out all day long. But then the next evolution here is Base, and Base is unique because it operates like a public chain, but it doesn't have a token. They haven't launched a token yet, I should say, and maybe they never will. It's the benefits of the public chain in terms of all the 101s of what public chains do, but instead of token incentive, as in just literally here's whatever $100,000 to build on the chain, it's being run by Coinbase, and essentially the Coinbase proposition is, now it's grown a lot, 125 million wallets, right? 125 million accounts. I think there's 15,000 institutions and whatever 124 million something individuals. So the point of that is that even Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, this is recently, only last month, I think, he said, the most interesting thing that Coinbase is doing in all the things they're doing, because they're custody and trading and all kinds of stuff, is Base and pushing Base. So Coinbase wants a protocol that works. They want a protocol that they're not held hostage by whatever parameters that could be an issue later on, and they want all of their users to buy assets on Base. So the trade-off of short-term financial incentive to build on Base is balanced out and hopefully proven over time to be much more value to have, the target of 125 million users accessing the assets. So yeah, Base is doing very, very well. I think everyone who's building on Base is targeting to get to that kind of audience. Coinbase try to build sort of a one-stop shop from issuance, trading, wallets, Coinbase Wallet, which we're also integrated with in a Base protocol. They want meme coins, real-world asset tokens, as many assets as possible. And so that's a bit more detail into why we think Base is super important, and why we've spent a lot of time and a lot of energy building on that, right? And it's meant to be, layer 2 solutions and the goodness of Ethereum without the fees and speed problems. And Coinbase is one of our investors. They invested in our company a couple of years ago. They're building out, real world asset exchange in Abu Dhabi, and they're one of the first and the biggest groups in crypto to be focusing on real world assets and all that. So, that's our play. That's one of the key deliverables. And Aaron said we spent a lot of energy and time building on Polygon. It sounds like those guys have cashed out their treasuries and just don't really care anymore, and the protocol has issues. So that's it. We spent all that time. So we've got a lot of exciting co-marketing activities coming out, and a lot of discussions with many of the key departments in Coinbase. But you've got to go and prove yourself to get that support, because again, it's not token based, and it's run more like a sort of normal kind of business, if you will. But yeah, super excited to be moving into Base. We've got a lot of stuff coming out of the pipeline on that front.
All right, thanks for that quick Base overview. I think we can just get into the questions as well here. Are there, aside from that, what will Base actually bring to the platform? As the first question for tonight.
Yeah, I mean, maybe just to reiterate a few points I made before. I mean, it's basically Coinbase's protocol. So what's the simple goal? It's the user base of Coinbase, right? So and support around that, right? They want issuers, they want high quality real world asset issuers, they want other assets. But let's just talk about our industry. They want to be the protocol of choice for everyone, right? Wall Street, real estate, private equity, millions and billions and then trillions of assets issued, real world asset tokens issued on Base, therefore making it very easy and seamless for the Coinbase user base to access these assets, right? I mean, if you think about it, as a business, if there's real world asset tokens on any other protocol, or there's real world asset tokens on Base, who's Coinbase going to work with first? It's very simple. So yeah, I think that's the simple goal. It's issuer side as well as investor side. So the investor side is easy to understand. It's all the users who have registered on Coinbase and who are buying this stuff. And again, we've really talked about this before. It actually just came out recently. We reposted it. I posted it on my own channels. It was interesting. There's a guy called Michael Nadur. I don't know how to say his last name. He runs some kind of business related to like newsletters and whatnot. Anyway, it's called the DeFi Report. He put out something just this week, and it said the real battle coming down the pipeline is the big battle is Robinhood versus Coinbase. And if you think about Robinhood has currently 25. So this is what I read just recently from what they said. Has 25 million accounts. Robinhood has been selling stocks, securities, real world assets. They just bought or are buying Bitstamp, which is one of the oldest cryptocurrency exchanges. So they can start selling crypto assets to their call it real world asset clients, their existing user base. So now you've got the TradFi Wall Street guys coming to crypto to add those assets. And then in reverse, you have Coinbase on the other side, 5 times as many wallets, 125 mil. They've been selling the crypto, and then now they're trying to add the real world assets. So essentially, that's going to be the end game is you can buy Bitcoin, meme coin, shitcoin, stable coin, real estate token, startup token, all throughout sort of the crypto ecosystem. So this is also sort of round 2 for the crypto guys coming at the real world asset space. And we mentioned this before, but for those new to the community, that this all happened in 2021 when we were building already IXSwap, and Binance and FTX tried to launch tokenized stocks, but they had no licensing. And so Coinbase is actually trying to get licensed in some parts of the world, but the real world asset space related to securities is global. It's massive. It's trillions and trillions, and you need licenses in all the jurisdictions. So the point is that that's the crux of that. That's where it's heading towards, and that's why you now have the BlackRocks and Franklin Templetons on Wall Street who are now issuing tokenized treasuries, money market funds, all on chain. So again, more of Wall Street heading towards DeFi, real world assets, and again, more and more crypto exchanges that we're speaking to about partnerships, collaboration, where IXSwap's real world asset tokens will be presented to the audience of the cryptocurrency exchanges, but they can buy and sell them legally and compliantly by leveraging everything that IXSwaps has. Because for the rest, some of the community to understand, if you go into a cryptocurrency exchange today and you're buying a yield-bearing token like a stable coin with like 5% returns, that's a real-world asset security token, and that is probably being sold to you illegally because the cryptocurrency exchange probably doesn't have a securities license. So anyway, the point is that it's very difficult to get licenses, and you can't just sell the same assets on different types of assets on one platform. So commodities are different to securities, they're different to cryptocurrencies, they're different to derivatives, there's all these different things. So the point is that IXSwap is really positioned to help all the cryptocurrency exchanges and DeFi platforms who want to sell real world asset security tokens, and so many of them do, provide that for them. And so essentially our end game is to have to be able to help Coinbase's issuers who want to issue real asset tokens, and also be able to get our issuers, let's just call it our clients, IXSwap, who's launching real assets on IXSwap, distributed in some capacity to the Coinbase community, which is obviously infinitely bigger than what we have right now. Thanks, Gene.
All right, thanks for that great and in-depth answer, Julian. I guess we can jump into the next one here. So someone is asking, are there any new deals coming into the Launchpad now that Base has been launched?
Yeah, I'll let Aaron handle that. We were just talking about the next deal that's coming down the pipeline about an hour ago.
Yeah, I mean, there are quite a few deals that we're looking at to launch on Base right now. One interesting new issuance that we're looking at on Base is actually a honey fund. I don't think this has ever done No one has ever done a honey fund in the world before, and it's paying about 10 to 15%, which is quite interesting. So that's coming onto base. We've got a IP fund that's coming to base as well. This is another Korean IP deal. There's a real estate deal coming as well. On top of that, we are building out a couple of SaaS build-outs at the moment for the platform. And it is likely that these issuers and SaaS clients will be issuing on base as well.
All right, looks like we got multiple offerings coming into base, so there's something to look out for, community. Next question that we have here is, will we see any white label integrations in the near future?
As of now, we're not really doing any sort of white label integrations. Just to avoid confusion, white label tends to mean a full build out for someone else in a completely different database. What we are offering the clients is actually a SaaS platform where issuers or other SaaS clients can come to us and sort of rent the platform and are able to sort of change the design, the logos on the platform to fit their branding. But the infrastructure, the KYC, the compliance, all still stays with IXS. And we have two clients coming down the pipeline. One is I think finishing this month, and we have another delivery in the middle of September as well. So the tech team's been working pretty hard to get these delivered for these two new SaaS clients on the platform.
And Gene, I'll add to that. There's confusion on the internet about the difference between what a SaaS model is, software as a service, and what a white label model is. Our position, the position we've taken to explain them, because the internet's divided like 50-50 on what people think, that's confused. But software as a service, from our perspective, is that it's our technology and our licenses, and then someone else's brand. So real estate group, whoever can have a branded section on IXSwap, and they can launch all their deals, and they can use the wallets and the launchpad and the AMM and everything. Everything's there, but it's very fast and it's very quick because again, it's the IXSwap technology and regulatory framework. Now, the white label concept, in terms of how we see it, is when someone else wants us to build the tech for them and they want to go get their own licenses. That's probably the best way to frame it. And what that means is that we would have to custom build whatever, we'd still be doing Launchpad and Dex, but it would be customized because there'd be all these different little changes. And then that client would be applying for securities licenses, and ours took like nearly 3 years. So we're not really interested. To date, we haven't been focused on white label because it's extremely long time deliverable. A lot of these groups are not going to get licenses. So you could start working on these projects and, in a year and a half, 2 years, they give up, they run out of money, they get told no. And then, you've put in all this effort and energy and no one wants to spend too much money along that path because it's all very expensive and you can't generate revenue because you don't have any licenses, and that would be illegal. But essentially also then it's just not been part of, we've had a lot of people ask us, banks and big companies. We haven't done it yet. We've been focusing on, again, our SaaS model. We think that's much more scalable. It's much better for clients. They don't have to worry about anything in terms of licenses and tech. Everyone thinks they want the white label model when they begin, but then you explain the pain, the challenges, the difficulty, the cost, the time to go get your own license to do it. But anyway, we're not opposed to it. It's just not, doesn't add huge value. And again, often that would be also then under their brand, because there's no use. There's no one wants to go get a license somewhere and spend 3 years to do that, rent someone's tech, and then promote the rented tech's brand. It wouldn't make any sense. So that also would potentially give us some volume if they did well, which we wouldn't know for a very long time. But it wouldn't even be the IXSwap brand. It might be co-branded, but probably not. So anyway, the point is, SaaS is the way forward now. It has been so far. If someone wants to pay a huge amount of money and we think that it works well and it doesn't deter and slow down or impede our roadmap, which is key, and there's money in it, well, yeah, we're a business. We'll think about it, but we haven't really been thinking too much about it. We have been thinking a lot about the SaaS, and there's a lot of people that want to launch their own real-world asset tokens. They want to look and feel like their brand. They don't want to deal with any cost, time, energy to license up. They don't want the risk. and it's faster, much lower cost. We get it up and running, and then all those assets predominantly are on the IX swap. So it helps build our volume and helps build the user base, and most of those investors that they bring to the platform typically will also be probably looking at the other deals as well. So SaaS is like 100 times better for us than white label right now. There's a bit more detail. Thanks, Gene.
All right, thanks for clarifying that. And I guess the next question has something to do with our recent announcement with our IXS Solar Vaults. I'm just going to quickly kind of reconfigure this question because I still think it's leaning towards white label. So someone is asking, when a deal is launched by a SaaS partner, how does that still affect the tokenomics, or how does that affect the tokenomics at all?
It doesn't really affect the tokenomics. I mean, in that aspect, I mean, the SaaS clients are paying us money, and we're using some of that money to burn and buy back IXS tokens in the open market. So the more SaaS clients we have, the more burns and buybacks we'll do as well. But I think more importantly is that the SaaS clients will be launching their own individual deals off their platform. So the SaaS clients users, their investors will only see their deals, whereas the IXS users and clients will be able to see all the deals of all the SaaS platforms centralized on the IXS platform. So that's, I think, the key benefit is it's just the pure number of deals that we'll be issuing with these new SaaS clients.
All right, thanks for that, Aaron. And jumping into the next question here, we're going back into Coinbase. So what will the partnership with Coinbase grow into? And is Project Diamond related potentially?
Yeah, I can take that. Project Diamond is again, these are our comments, and we're not speaking on behalf of Coinbase, but this is what we think. Project Diamond is Coinbase's first real world asset play. Why is it in Abu Dhabi? I think America has been a disaster from regulatory position. America's SEC has been suing Coinbase even after granting them, even though they became a listed company on based off their business model, and then after they were listed, they were getting sued by the SEC for running an illegal business and having crypto that they called securities. They basically called crypto real world asset tokens, and they needed all these securities license. So that has created, obviously insane amounts of pain for Coinbase and the industry in America. But what it also meant was Coinbase was not able to launch real world asset tokens in America. They couldn't simultaneously be, fighting with the SEC saying we don't launch securities, we launch crypto, and then at the same time actually launching security tokens, real world asset tokens. Like, just impossible, basically. But they still want to do it because they know how big it is. It's much bigger than crypto, not today, but will be in terms of, and they want to add all these assets to their users, and they want base and all this stuff. So they got some love in Abu Dhabi. Abu Dhabi is in the UAE is, super wealthy, super cashed up, super focused on being a digital asset hub. And so, out on the other side of the world in the middle of the desert, they start building their first real world asset exchange, Project Diamond. Now, securities, real world asset tokens, security tokens are there's many different kinds. In simplicity, jurisdictions around the world, you need license all these jurisdictions, and there's always nuances to this and that. So even though Coinbase started in Abu Dhabi, the end game for them is, New York, London, Singapore, Abu Dhabi, Hong Kong, Tokyo, whatever, right? Every country, major city, major capital markets. Abu Dhabi's great. They're super supportive. Obviously, they've got endless amounts of money. They're very forward thinking. There is also very small. It's a very new and very young, I should say, capital markets. So when you think about issuing securities, real world asset tokens, and investing in them, where the jurisdiction is very important. So there's a reason why, New York, London, Singapore, to a lesser extent, remain and are Hong Kong are the biggest financial markets in the world. It doesn't happen overnight. It happens over a very long period of time. It happens with positive, supportive regulation that protects investors, and then also in brackets helps innovation. So what Abu Dhabi are doing is amazing, but it's kind of day one, right? But that's my read on Project Diamond. They'll get it up and running there. They'll want to expand that around the world, whatever. It's very positive for IXSwap. Again, like the story I said just at the beginning of the call, Robinhood's coming to crypto, and Coinbase is going to securities. And they're not the only ones. They're certainly not the only ones. We're speaking to 4 or 5 of the top 6 or 7 crypto exchanges. They all want to launch real-world asset tokens legally. Some of them might not be doing it legally today. They're trying to legitimize those revenue streams. And then also, other players that are just as big and just as important, like Tether, USDT, and Circle, USDC, they're the top, 2 out of the top 5 coins market cap in the world. They're just getting ready to launch their yield bearing versions, which then become real world asset security tokens. And they're going to be they are already looking for distribution platforms where people can buy and sell these legally. And because USDT and USDC have historically, up until today, still have been non-yield bearing instruments. One of the reasons I've been told this, but it looks pretty obvious, one of the reasons why you buy USDC and USDT and you earn nothing is because those groups wanted to be able to justify their position in front of securities regulators that these are not securities. And that's easy to do because when you're not paying anyone anything, right? People are buying one USDC and then a year later you can cash it in for $1. Well, that also made USDT and USDC insanely profitable because they could take that $1 and go and invest it into anything, and all the profits of the interest that they earn remains with them, and that's why they make billions of dollars a quarter. That's a separate story. But the point is, those guys are also readying their real-world asset tokens that require platforms with licenses and growth. So anyway, all that stuff, and there's other types of stable coins as well. We're talking to guys in different markets that have launched the local versions, Philippines, whatever. They want to make sure that these yield-bearing coins, which are securities, are being sold legally so they can grow that. So anyway, there's a lot to unpack. The bottom line, the simple version is yes, very positive that Coinbase is focused on this, very positive for IXSwap.
All right, thanks for that, Julian. And coming into the next question, so I think it's a little bit more related to the base mission logs that we just put out. So the question is, will the staking rewards come from all Launchpad deals or just a select few?
So the staking rewards coming to the IXS stakers will be for every single Launchpad deal going forward. We've started to bake this into the contracts on IXS that any issuers need to contribute to the staking pool going forward.
Yeah, and maybe I'll just touch base on that as well. I'm super excited by the staking program. Again, this is all stuff that the community would have seen in blogs and posts coming out. Like the key ingredient, the key characteristic to several of the historical DeFi market meltdowns over the last couple of years was the fact that people were staking all their crypto for more of the same crypto. So when markets are going up, that's amazing. And then when markets come down, as they say, kind of escalator up and elevator down, everything, it's a house of cards and everything falls apart. I keep referencing this story from 4 years ago, 3 years ago, where the only thing I could find about staking rewards, the reward being real world asset tokens or securities interest equity tokens, not the same cryptocurrency, came out when Copper, who's a big custodian, wrote about when it was after I think the 21 or 22 DeFi meltdown, the Celsius blow up, the FTX, that whole saga, that whole period of time, and these guys were writing that when we start to use security tokens as the rewards and we start to underpin the staking programs with real assets, we're not going to. If we don't do that, we're just going to continue to have these massive meltdowns every couple of years. It actually started at the beginning of this year. There was, the airdrops, just sort of another version of it. But anyway, the point is that we're coming out now with another world first product, which is if you stake the IXS tokens, you get equity real-world asset tokens as the reward. So this has never happened before. It's deflation. It's deflationary in terms of, well, the problem when you have stake crypto token A, get more crypto token A, you just flooding the market with more product, right? So it's devaluing the tokens. I mean, so essentially what we've got now is stake IXS tokens, and the more that you stake and the more that you lock up, the more equity tokens you get, which actually increases the value of IXSwap. That doesn't just keep flooding the market with more IXS tokens. It does the opposite. It takes more IXS tokens off the market. So people there's been talk wherever since the beginning of crypto, and how do you actually, create value mechanisms that grow the value of a token? And we've kind of been running around in circles, and no one's come up with anything new for a long time up until this. Now we're telling all of the issuers that they must take at least a percent of their offering. So if you have $100 of, let's make the number a bit bigger, $1 million of equity tokens, you must take $10,000 of that and reward the community who have been in this latest staking program attached to that offering, right? So we're actually now getting all of the issuers to carve out real equity of their project and use that to reward people who are staking on IXSwap. This is awesome, right? We've been saying this for a long time, trying to drive more value for IXS, and then coming out with something that other people can't do this, right? Why has no one done this before? Well, a few things. People in crypto weren't allowed to touch securities, or if they were doing it illegally. And then those that started doing it only serviced institutional and accredited investors, because a lot of them still didn't have licenses, or they just didn't have the retail licenses. So no one's been legally allowed to do this before, and we're the first ones. So this is super, super exciting. People are going to be able to build, and no one's ever done this. I've never heard of anything like this outside of blockchain. I've never heard of anywhere where you can just get free equity in a company. The only thing that even comes close is probably something like employee stock options, but it doesn't really come close. You've got to go work there for 4 years and work hard and stay employed. Then you get some equity in the company, but that's earned. There hasn't never been anything like this. So this is really exciting. The more we do this, the more velocity it gets. I think it becomes really exciting for the projects. It increases the amount of holders of their real-world asset tokens. It increases their community. So there's even more support. And yeah, I mean, it's a world first, so we'll see how it plays out. But I think it's, we're really excited by this. Thanks, Gene.
All right, and that is something to look forward to. So please stay tuned in all our channels, and we'll make sure to keep you guys updated on the latest developments on our staking, bridging, and LBP. All right, I think we're boiling down to the last question here, and it's a little bit more for our sister company, InvestX. So how is InvestX doing, and are there any developments?
Oh, I guess I should answer some of that. Yeah, there's tons of developments. There's a whole bunch of new clients coming out on that platform. The primary issuance on InvestorX is unfortunately not available for retail investors. Secondary trading is, but still most of the issuers are really focusing on accredited investors. We've just signed up an Australian listed ASX listed company. I mean, this has been mentioned already, but the group behind the Bitcoin ETF in Australia, the very first publicly listed cryptocurrency firm, basically, to launch their first real-world asset tokens. There's been some new integrations over there with Clayton Protocol, which essentially was Korea's protocol, I guess, for some point. But anyway, that's really exciting. There's a whole bunch of exciting stuff going on right there. Yeah, and just constant upgrades on tech and features. We've got a bunch of other protocols that want to integrate with InvestorX. InvestorX doesn't have the AMM model, doesn't have the DEX model. So let's just say for today, the simple way to say it is it's a little bit easier to integrate. So we can integrate with new protocols there that if they're going to bring more issuers and more business, we can do that. But yeah, it continues to grow. Lots of exciting stuff going on that side as well.
All right, thanks for that answer, Julian. And I like the fact that you touched upon tech developments. I think there's been quite a few on IX Swap. Maybe you guys would like to touch into that and just highlight some of the things that the tech team's been working on for the past couple of months.
Aaron, you want to lead that one?
Yeah. So I'm sure all of you guys have seen the bug bounty that we've launched right now, and that was really meant for base, the deployment of base. But along with that, the team had actually done quite a few infrastructure upgrades and then backend upgrades to the platform. And for those of you who have been using the platform, you would have noticed the platform's gotten significantly faster in terms of response speed. We've also integrated the Coinbase wallets. The Launchpad had some UX upgrades as well. What else is there? There is a MLM program that's actually coming out at the end of the month or either at the start of September. On top of that, the team's also working on the payout functions on the platform to accommodate both issuers that issue off our platform and for issuers that list on our platform. So there are quite a lot of upgrades, and the tech team has been extremely busy. But they've been producing and they've been doing very, very well for the last couple of months.
All right, thanks for that, Aaron. And for those that are tuning in, don't worry, we will be making sure that we release our monthly newsletter with all of these new tech developments, updates, and roadmaps that we have for the next coming month. I guess we're finally run through some of all of the questions and the developments. So I guess a little bit of a teaser for everyone. It's going to be an exciting time for the next 2 to 3 weeks for IX Swap and InvestX team. Maybe Julian, you'd like to talk about SEO Summit in Korea, Token 2049, and KBW. Just something for the audience to look forward to.
Yeah, sure. So insane amount of activity coming up for the next couple of months. We've got Korea very, very soon. I think by in 2 weeks we'll be heading to Seoul, which we're super excited by. We did a big push and trip up there at the end of last year. Korea is very excited by real world asset tokens. They're still predominantly calling them security tokens, but there's really excitement in the market there for what that can do. It's South Korea is very tech savvy. It's very young. It's very wealthy, relatively speaking, and it loves crypto. Next evolution, real world asset tokens. We're keynote speaking at the STO Summit, which is the second one and the only event related to RWA that's ever happened in Korea, and it's run by one of the big media companies. So we got a lot of exposure last year, and we got a lot of new business that came out of that, and now that market is almost 8-9 months of development, and that's a long time in blockchain. And we know that everyone's been pushing really hard up there. So we're part of that. We're also speaking at Korean Blockchain Week, as well as a bunch of side events, all related to RWA, of course. And yeah, we expect to get significantly more upside than we got last year when it was Q4 last year. Korea was just literally almost very early, like day one of real world asset tokens, because that's just where that market was. So rapidly growing, rapid interest. We've had a lot of the big Korean groups come down to meet us in Singapore. Singapore is seen as the first natural, most important stop outside of Korea and then into sort of the rest of the world. So very close relationships, very strong ties, lots of respect there. And so we are really excited by that trip. We got some great people on the ground there. Some of our community, Juchul, I think said, Jin, I don't know if Jin's on the call, but helping us out. We've got some programs coming with some Korean KOLs there. So we're about to launch some localized marketing. And then we're coming back to Singapore. We'll be doing Token 249, which is the biggest crypto event in the world, I think, at least from everything I've been and seen. It's going to be the same again. Hundreds of side events. We're going to be prominent speaking at Coinbase House, LW3, family office, institutional crypto event, RWA, it's Centrifuge, Libera. We're speaking at, we're co-hosting a bunch of different events. Yeah, so all of this is up until like the 19th of September. So it's not even that far. Like then there's still still another couple of months after that. So I'll leave it there for our next AMA, and we'll know what we're doing after that. But lots of exciting stuff coming in the next sort of 30 to, we'll probably do our next AMA after Token 2049 because there's so much stuff going on before then. So that's probably, I don't know if I missed anything, Gene. You've been helping organize all this.
Nope, that's spot on. And I guess a little something for the community to look forward to. Make sure you tune in as we'll see more studio interviews of Aaron and Julian from the STO Summit. And tune in again as next week as we'll be releasing a lot of the banners and a lot of what the events that we'll be attending for Korea Blockchain Week, STO Summit and Token 2049. It looks like we're finally boiling down to the end of the session here. We've gone through the updates, the questions, and what to look out for. Maybe a couple of last words from you, Julian and Aaron, before we formally end this call.
Aaron, you want to go first?
Just for the IXS community to stay tuned into everything that we're doing. There's a lot of marketing activity. I think this is the most that we're pushing out in one quarter. There's also a bunch of Coinbase activities that are going to be coming down the pipeline as well over the next couple of months. Thanks everyone for attending today. I'll pass on to you, Jules.
Yeah, it's very interesting times. We're now, many years into this program. We saw a lot of real world asset products and platforms launched this year. A lot of them had a PowerPoint and were just talking a big game or just launched a token and didn't have anything. We obviously want to try to support as many of them as possible, not the ones that are lying and cheating their communities or pretending they have a lot of stuff they don't have, or basically, copying us but not having anything. But everyone else, and there's a lot of them out there, we're looking to try to help in any way capacity we have. But also, as this develops now and people are, one of the reasons why I think crypto is having a really, I would say, challenging time this year is because although I think from a sort of a macro cycle perspective, we are going to get something similar. We've also never had, we've never had before, right? We've never had really good things like Bitcoin ETFs and Ethereum ETFs and Wall Street getting excited. But I guess that's a good thing if forgetting the decentralized argument. But we've also never had things like the volume and insane amounts of new token launches every single day, because it's, a lot more people have worked out how easy it is to launch a token. It's very difficult to make it work and actually build something. But a lot of these people aren't even caring about those second and third parts. So we've had a real kind of fragmentation. I think from liquidity, and a lot of people still trying to hunt for the 2000x seed round. And so what it means is most of these token launches have failed and dropped a lot. And a lot of people and a lot of these platforms or tokens that have launched on cryptocurrency exchanges have also gone down. If you look at all the data, everything from sort of February, March or so, the super majority of anything launched since February, March is down, some of them down, huge amounts. So the point I'm trying to make is that, I think that the crypto community in general is getting a lot smarter. I think that the historical, pump and dump from influencers and KOLs is getting harder and harder for them to do. The awareness of, retail investors being the exit liquidity for the front running VCs and KOLs is becoming harder to do, and that the cat's out of the bag in terms of people understanding that. So where does that all lead? It leads to a very, very difficult landscape trying to pick new projects. And we hear that from every single person we speak to, whether they've been in the space for 10 years or 10 minutes, whether they're a VC with $1 billion or they've got 5 Ethereum to spend or less. And so now I think where we've been able to get to with all of this is, surviving a crazy bear market, building real tech, securing licenses that almost no one in the world has, and a full distribution of our token supply. We have almost nothing. I mean, I can't remember the numbers, but I was looking at Ondo the other day. They've still got something like 84%, don't quote me, of the tokens haven't been issued yet, right? So we're almost fully diluted. So I think that puts us in a really, really strong position. There's no unlocks coming. There's no weirdness coming. Every token out in the market is out there. So we have we don't have any I guess major concerns coming down the pipeline from people who are an investor perspective, and we've actually got some real stuff being built. So I'm still very frustrated with the pace and the speed of everything. Although our own team is doing a very, very good job, just in terms of sort of holistically. We always want to be a lot further down the line, but I think we're in a really strong position as I believe we will have another bull run. It might be nothing like the last one, but I think it'll come. And then I think that it'll become more and more obvious. And I can see this across social media. Most people saying things on social media, we don't know who they are. So they're just unpaid. They can say and do whatever they want. But IXS seems to be really coming to the top of the subset of asset classes in terms of crypto, being RWA being an asset class, if you will. And we're looking like in many places that I can see, we're in the top 5, at worst top 10 RWA tokens that people are looking to support. And with our new programs coming out, including our staking, everything else related to base, and still being one of the only places in the world I'm aware of where anyone can come and buy an equity token in a good quality project with 1 USDT, the more that message proliferates and spreads around the world, the bigger the community. And we're looking at some really big B2B partnerships to help us kind of grow. The project that Aaron mentioned before, the Honey Fund commodity play is being launched by, let's just say, we're not going to name names, but one of the most well-known people in the history of this blockchain industry. And then we still just feel like we're getting started. So, overall, I think that things are really good. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got a huge amount of PR marketing activities in the pipeline. We've got some fantastic products and tech rollouts that are real. And, the team keeps, heads down, keeps delivering. And every day there's a new fluffy RWA project that comes and goes. And IXSwap's still here and now has a track record. And the evidence is there for people to be able to see. So yeah, all really excited. We look forward to the next AMA. There'll be a whole bunch of other updates. So thanks for everyone for joining and listening in today. Thanks you, and thanks Gene for hosting again.
All right, thank you, Julian and Aaron. Thank you, everyone, for coming in today. So you heard it here first, all good news, updates, and things to look out for. So the only thing you have to do is stay tuned, locked in, and IXSwap will get you there. All right, that's it. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening or great day. Cheers.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.